So me and bruh had hit the point of no return. Problem was, we had no idea we were headed for a collision course with all our enemies.
Clifton, my brother, how you feeling
All right.
today?
I'm great, bro. I'm great. I'm great. Just chilling, getting this publicity out of the way so people are tuning in and see this wonderful show.
Yeah, my guy, my guy. I'm not Joe Chambers. I'm from Big O Belt Media, based out of Washington, D.C.
Okay, okay.
It's
Another one.
always a pleasure to talk to
Yes,
not
sir.
only just a fellow brother,
Yes,
but a
sir.
brother from the DMV, and we're
Yes,
here to
sir.
talk
Yes, sir.
all
Yes, sir.
things BMF season 4. How you feeling today?
I feel great. I feel great. I'm just honored to be a part of the show, So it's a wonderful show, and I get a chance to not play a gangster. Everybody thinks I play gangsters. I play more pastors than gangsters.
Yeah, that's so true. I was literally going to say that. Yeah, so you stole my bit. But one thing I do want to say is so much love and respect for everything you do, your platform and all the things you speak for in the communities, your advocacy for Black people, for Black men, and this what you've been able to do in terms of entertaining us on our television and bit screens for over the years with over 200 credits. And if you hung it up today, instantly a legend and one of the greatest of all time. And then you look forward and you're still putting in work like you just getting started, like you got bills to pay and they past due 60 days. I want to know for you, man, what's keeping you so refreshed and what was it about this project that instantly became something you wanted to be a part of?
Um, I was telling a young man at the prior interviewer, being raised in DC in that black melting pot, especially, I was born in 56, so from 50 to 60 to 70 to 80s, DC and the DMV area was considered, especially DC Chocolate City.
Yes, sir.
I had so many wonderful teachers. My nephew James Brown, who's a sportscaster out of DC, came out of DeMatha, helped raise me. His mom is my sister, so I grew up basically with JB and them.
I didn't
Um,
know that.
my
Wow.
mom passed away when I was 4, and my mom died fairly tragically, very tragically. And JB's mom is we have the same mom. JB's mom and I have the same mom. God rest her soul, she's passed on. Mary Ann Brown, who was really, really tough and really, really a stickler for being humble and being disciplined. And, from the time I was 5 years old, I spent the weekends, I had to leave the hood on the weekends and stay at JB's house with my sister, my nephews, and all of cousins, and it helped ground me, because I grew up in the Kenilworth Mayfair area, Parkside area, Mayfair, and back during the day it was pretty tough, and they
Some
kept me.
might say it still is.
It's still tough. And so that kept me grounded. And I ended up, I wanted to play football. I really wanted to be Charlie Taylor, the Washington Redskins. That's who I really wanted to be. And I guess, the gods had a different plan. Ended up going to DeMatha and then leaving there and going to St. Anthony's. I saw a play and got involved in the play. And I think, because I really wanted to play football, I never really had a plan when I fell in love with the arts. Then I went to Emerson College and then I came out. And of course, I went straight to New York and just hit the ground running. And then when I got there in 79, Sam and Denzel, Angela Bassett, we were all poor working actors, man. And you did it because you love it. And I think I fell in love with the theater. And I think that's the drive that I have now. I haven't really talked about my journey in Hollywood. And I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm going to write a book called Angels by My Side. But it hasn't always been easy. Some of the roles that you guys have seen me in, I was the last choice for the role. Some of the roles, one big movie, TV movie, which I'm not going to mention right now. I'm going to save it for my book.
Okay.
I got blocked in that series on that movie because they just thought I was too dark and too strong.
Mm.
And it's been a lot of other things that have blocked me, but somehow I think my dad used to say to me, he said, where there's a will, there is a way. And my dad wasn't really a learned man. He only had a fourth grade education, worked at the government printing office 35 years. But he always said to me, all you need is faith the size of a mustard seed. So, all those I've been homeless 4 times. I run out of money about 5 times. And I lost about 10 million in my divorce. But I think that coming up the way I did instilled a drive in me and a faith that no matter where I am, I just keep going,
Yeah.
and I enjoy playing wild, funny characters. Like this character, Pastor Coleman, is a real doozy. You know,
Yeah.
I told you he's a capitalist preacher. He sells his books in the lobby. He has an ATM machine in the lobby. He's throwing money around the church. So it's really going to be
Uh-huh.
interesting. I can't wait to see it. So that
Yeah.
is, for people that don't know me, I grew up, Debbie Allen was my dance teacher. My class started the first class at Duke Ellington. So I graduated from St. Anthony's, but that summer of 70, I think it was 74, the program Workshop for Careers in the Arts merged with the school system and formed Duke Ellington. And I was there that summer. Then I went to college. But I had some great teachers. John Thompson Sr., God rest his soul, Big John,
Yeah.
was my high school coach. And those are we're talking about real strong, revolutionary people who helped
Yeah.
raise me. And that keeps me going.
All of that and didn't even mention Howard because when I went to school, well,
Now,
they
you
went
know
to
what?
DHU Howard.
The funny thing is, I started to go to Howard, and I think I rode past Howard one homecoming weekend. I was like, I'm not going to survive at Howard. There's too many pretty girls up here, and they're having too much fun. I better get out of. I wanted to get out of DC and get away, not to
Yeah.
just get away from DC, but just kind of
Had to
see
see
the
the
world
world.
a
Yeah.
little bit. I love the DMV. I love DC. I would never trade being born anywhere else, man. It was just being around successful African American men and women, entrepreneurs, but also I had some great white teachers.
Yeah.
Um, I never saw the racism that was around me in the 60s in my environment. I have a hard time handling racism now as I travel.
Yeah.
But I was raised by some really great people.
Listen, they're giving me the cue. I really want to ask you just really quickly, two quick things.
Yes, sir.
Because with Pastor Coleman, it is kind of spinning the narrative about the churches in the South. You talk about essentially less flamboyant, but you see there's a aesthetic around him and how he runs it, everything. Do you feel any personally a type of way about how the churches are perceived in that notion, considering that it's becoming less about the church and less about the word and more about the presentation?
Well, I think you got old school churches and you got new school churches. It happens
That's
everywhere. It's a couple of churches out in LA. They want to see a text. I don't exactly say LA because I don't want the
yeah,
church
yeah,
people to
yeah.
get mad at me, but
The church folks.
you got to bring your tax statements in and all of that stuff. So, the church has always been a place of you need money to operate a church. And I think
Yeah.
if you're not grounded as a pastor, and I'm not exactly sure how grounded Pastor Coleman is, because he's selling his books in the lobby, like I said, and he
Yeah,
has an
far from
ATM
grounded.
machine in the lobby, and so he's pretty flamboyant with the blue and the golds. And I think he's in more of the new genre of
That.
pastors who may not be as grounded as those old school pastors. It's just my take on it. Of course, Pastor Coleman is a character I was playing. The BMF writing staff came up with this guy, and I just try to bring it to life. But
Yeah.
he's a little over the top. So
Yeah.
when you're searching around for a church, you want to try to find a good balance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the writers. It's just so much love and respect to the South in terms of inspiring so much from the
yeah,
music scene, the culture scene, obviously in the religious scene too. And the last question I want to ask you really quickly, and then we'll wrap here, is that I mean, again, 200 credits, and you probably got 50 more coming.
we got a bunch more stuff coming.
If there's anything you would love to remake or reboot, what would it be?
I would probably say Dead Presidents. I'd like to
Oh,
see I like to see Anthony get revenge on Cuddy. I would love to see, Presidents the aftermath, or Anthony's revenge,
yeah.
because Cuddy knocked him down the steps and all that people like, man, that'd have been me, man. I'd have shot Cuddy. It would be kind of interesting to see that as a and then Menace to Society, I think we'll get a part two out of that one too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My brother Clifton, thank you so much for your time, man. Listen, when they see what you bring with Pastor Coleman, man,
Oh man.
it is a treat. I mean, the sermon is so cultivating. Like you almost do want to put your mortgage down in that in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
bed, you know?
Hey, listen, man, I can't wait to see it. I know it was exhausting. I preached so hard. At one point, I had to sit down. My head was pounding. I was like, man, But I had a ball, and I really am grateful to be a part of the show. And I thank all the staff and everybody involved, the cast, the producers, the writers, and my man 50 Cents for having me on board. Big Meech and all my guys over there, Da Vinci. It was a blast. I had a blast.
Absolutely, absolutely. BMF streams every Friday on Stars. It's been a pleasure talking to you today, brother.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, I'm going to be in episode 3, June 20th. So make sure you check out Pastor Coleman.
Yes,
And bring your
sir.
check and bring your checkbook.
Thank you so much. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you so much, bro.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.